Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes in life, the greatest battles you will ever fight are not against the world, but against your own distractions. We live in a time where everybody's making noise, everybody's posting, everybody's talking, but very few are building. And here's what I've learned: when God is preparing you for something great, He doesn't put you on display, He puts you in the shadows. That's why your greatest breakthrough will come when you focus on yourself, develop your gifts, and stay silent long enough for your results to speak for you. Remember, diamonds are formed in the dark, not in the spotlight. Silence is not weakness, silence is discipline. In a world where everyone is constantly talking, posting, and announcing every move they make, silence becomes a rare and powerful quality. It is in silence that you learn to listen, to others, to your environment, and most importantly, to the voice of God speaking inside you. Too many people think they need to defend themselves, explain themselves, or justify every decision they make. But when you truly understand your value, when you are confident in your assignment, you realize that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Your work, your results, and your transformation will speak volumes, but they can only develop when you're not wasting your energy in endless conversations and arguments that lead nowhere. Silence allows you to conserve your energy for the real battles, the ones that matter. Silence is also strategic. If you study successful people, you'll notice they rarely reveal their plans before they execute them. They understand that speaking too soon can expose them to unnecessary criticism, doubt, or sabotage. When you keep silent about what you're building, you protect the seed of your vision. Every seed needs to be buried in the soil before it can grow. If you dig it up to show it to others before it's ready, you'll kill it. The same goes for your dreams and goals. Keep them in the soil of silence while you nourish them with your actions. The right time will come when the results are undeniable and the world will see what you've been working on without you having to say a word. In silence, you gain clarity. Constant noise blurs your focus. It makes you chase multiple directions without truly committing to one. But when you step back, when you remove yourself from the chaos, you create space to think deeply and make wise decisions. Silence helps you distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. Many people are so busy reacting to the noise around them that they forget to respond to the call inside them. True strength comes from being able to stand still while the world is moving frantically. It's in stillness that you can hear divine instructions clearly. Silence also builds your inner strength because it forces you to confront yourself. When you stop speaking, you start listening to your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs. Sometimes, people fill their lives with noise so they don't have to face what's going on inside. But when you embrace silence, you give yourself the opportunity to process, to heal, and to grow. This inner work is what creates the foundation for lasting success. Without it, your growth will be shaky and unstable. There's another side to silence. People may misunderstand it. They might think you're passive, shy, or uninterested. But silence in the right hands is a weapon. It keeps others guessing. It makes them wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, and what you're capable of. When you don't reveal everything, you maintain an advantage. Even in negotiations or leadership, silence can make others speak more, reveal more, and expose their own weaknesses. Silence gives you control of the pace and direction of the conversation without you having to force it. Silence is also a form of respect. Respect for yourself and for the timing of things. You understand that not every moment is a speaking moment. You understand that just because you can speak doesn't mean you should. Wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to hold your tongue. Some of the greatest damage in relationships, business, and life comes from speaking too quickly or reacting emotionally. Silence gives you the pause you need to choose your words wisely or to decide not to speak at all. That pause often saves you from regret. People who have mastered silence are often the ones others turn to for advice and leadership because their words carry weight. If you're always talking, your words become cheap. But if you speak only when necessary, people listen because they know you don't waste your voice. Silence adds value to your speech because it creates contrast. When you finally speak, it cuts through the noise and commands attention. In your journey, there will be moments when people criticize you, doubt you, or try to provoke you into responding. But silence is the ultimate demonstration of confidence. You're showing them that their opinions don't have the power to distract you from your mission. You're showing them that you're too focused on the vision God has placed in your heart to get caught up in petty disputes. Silence is not about being passive, it's about being selective in how you use your energy. It's about understanding that every moment you spend defending yourself is a moment you could have spent building yourself. When you choose silence, you choose to let your actions do the talking. And actions, when aligned with purpose and executed with consistency, always speak louder than words. Silence in this way becomes a form of communication. It says, watch me, without actually saying anything. It shifts the focus from talking about what you're going to do to actually doing it. And that's where real transformation happens. In the doing, not the talking. Silence is not emptiness, it's fullness. It's the fullness of focus, of self-control, of awareness. It's the space where ideas are born, where visions are refined, and where strategies are sharpened. It's the shield that guards you from unnecessary distractions and the sword that cuts through the noise of doubt and fear. Those who understand the power of silence understand that it is not just the absence of sound. It is the presence of strength, discipline, and wisdom. ChatGPT said results speak louder than words because results are undeniable. In a world full of promises, declarations, and speeches, results cut through all the noise. You can argue with opinions, but you cannot argue with proof. When a person says they are capable, it is only a claim. When they produce tangible results, it becomes a fact. Results validate your credibility in ways words never can. Many people spend their time trying to convince others of their worth, their potential, or their vision. But the truth is that convincing is unnecessary when the evidence is visible. The moment you produce results, the conversation changes because now your work is speaking on your behalf. You no longer have to explain why you deserve a position, an opportunity, or respect. Your results declare it for you. Results are the fruit of consistent action. Words can be spoken instantly, but results require a process. This process cannot be faked. It involves discipline, resilience, and focus. When you choose to let your results speak, you are choosing to put in the work even when no one is watching. This is why results carry more weight. They are born out of time, effort, and persistence. Anyone can say they are going to achieve something, but only those who follow through will have the proof. Your results are the physical evidence of your commitment. They are the receipt that shows you paid the price through effort, patience, and sacrifice. The reason results speak so powerfully is because they carry a universal language. No matter where you are in the world, success is recognized. Numbers, growth, achievements, these are measurable and visible to anyone. You do not have to translate results, they are self-explanatory. When you see a business thriving, a skill mastered, or a goal achieved, it needs no verbal defense, it stands on its own. In this way, results eliminate the need for constant explanation or justification. They are self-advertising, self-marketing, and self-defending. Results also create influence without the need for persuasion. When people see what you've accomplished, they naturally become curious. They want to know how you did it. They listen when you speak, not because you forced them to, but because they've seen proof that you live by what you say. This is the difference between people who simply talk about success and those who embody it. Words can inspire temporarily, but results inspire trust. People will follow someone who produces consistent results because it gives them confidence that this person can lead them somewhere meaningful. When you focus on producing results instead of talking about them, you also protect yourself from the trap of overpromising and underdelivering. There is a subtle danger in announcing your goals before they are achieved. It can create a false sense of accomplishment. You begin to feel rewarded for something you haven't done yet, and that can rob you of the hunger and urgency to actually achieve it. On the other hand, when you keep your goals private and simply work towards them, you build momentum without distraction. And when the results finally show, they speak volumes without you ever having to announce them in advance. Another reason results speak louder than words is because results create a track record. Over time, your results become your reputation. People will remember what you've accomplished long after they forget what you said. This is why the most respected leaders, entrepreneurs, and creators are known for what they've built, not just for what they talked about. Every result you produce is like adding a stone to the foundation of your credibility. The more stones you lay, the stronger your reputation becomes. Eventually, your work will speak so loudly that you won't have to chase opportunities, they will come looking for you. Results are also proof to yourself. It's not only about showing others what you can do, it's about showing yourself what's possible. When you see tangible progress from your efforts, it fuels your confidence and belief in your own abilities. It creates a cycle of motivation. Results create belief, and belief creates more results. This internal proof is often more important than external recognition because it reinforces your identity as someone who follows through, someone who delivers. Results silence critics more effectively than any argument could. You can debate with people for hours, trying to explain why you made a certain decision or pursued a certain path, but once they see the outcome, the conversation ends. Critics thrive on speculation and doubt, but results eliminate both. You don't have to waste energy defending yourself when your success stands as undeniable evidence. People may still have opinions, but opinions lose their power when confronted with proof. Producing results also sets a standard for yourself and others. Once you've shown what's possible, it becomes the new benchmark. You begin to hold yourself to higher expectations because you know what you're capable of. This constant raising of the bar is what drives long-term growth and excellence. It also inspires those around you to step up because they see that achievement is not just an idea, it's attainable with action and persistence. Results create momentum that words cannot. Once you achieve one milestone, it becomes easier to achieve the next because you have proof that your strategy works. This momentum builds trust with yourself and with others, attracting resources, partnerships, and opportunities that were previously unavailable. The more results you produce, the more doors open for you without you having to force them open. When you let your results speak, you also avoid the trap of empty recognition. Sometimes people seek applause for intentions rather than achievements, but applause for intentions is fleeting, applause for results is lasting. It's rooted in respect, not just sympathy or encouragement. True recognition comes when people see the evidence of your work and the impact it has created. That kind of recognition cannot be bought or fabricated. It must be earned through consistent results. Results are also a legacy. Long after you are gone, your words may be forgotten, but your results will remain as a testament to your efforts. Buildings, systems, books, businesses, inventions, these are results that continue to speak long after the one who created them has stopped speaking. This is why it's important to focus on producing work that will outlast you, results that will keep speaking for generations to come. Your growth needs privacy because growth is fragile in its early stages. Just like a seed that must be buried in the soil to sprout. Your personal development requires an environment where it is shielded from unnecessary exposure. The moment you expose a seed too soon, it stops growing. The same is true for your dreams, your plans, and your inner transformation. When you are in the process of changing, learning, and building yourself, that process is vulnerable. External opinions, doubts, and negativity can damage it before it has the chance to become strong enough to stand on its own. Privacy becomes the protective covering that allows your growth to happen without interference from the noise and judgments of the outside world. In the private space, you can make mistakes without an audience. You can experiment, fail, adjust, and try again without the pressure of everyone watching your every move. Growth is rarely a straight, clean path. It is messy, filled with wrong turns and lessons learned the hard way. If you constantly put your process on display, you open yourself up to unnecessary criticism and the temptation to perform for others instead of focusing on what truly matters, your own development. Privacy gives you the freedom to be authentic in your growth, not performative. You're not trying to look like you're growing. You're actually growing. Privacy also helps protect your energy. Every time you share something about your personal growth, you invite others to comment on it. Some will encourage you, but others will project their fears, doubts, or insecurities onto you. That negativity can plant seeds of doubt in your own mind if you are not yet strong enough to filter it out. When you choose to grow in private, you avoid unnecessary battles. You keep your focus on nurturing the roots instead of defending the sprout. Strong roots make a strong tree, and roots grow underground where they are hidden from view. In private growth, you also avoid the trap of premature validation. When you tell people about your progress, their praise can create a false sense of accomplishment. You start feeling rewarded for something you haven't fully achieved yet, and that can slow your momentum. Real growth requires consistent effort over time, and privacy helps you stay hungry and focused until the work is truly complete. Instead of seeking approval for partial progress, you push yourself to achieve the full vision. The satisfaction that comes from unveiling the finished product is far greater than the short-lived praise of revealing something half done. Privacy is also where transformation happens on the deepest level. True growth is not just about outward changes, it is about internal shifts, your mindset, your habits, your beliefs, your character. These changes are often subtle at first, and they need time to solidify before they can withstand outside pressure. The private space is like a greenhouse controlling the conditions so that growth happens faster and stronger. The more you focus on the internal work without distractions, the more powerful your eventual external results will be. There is also a strategic reason for keeping your growth private. When others do not know your exact progress, they cannot predict your next move. Privacy creates an element of surprise. While people may be underestimating you, you are quietly improving, learning, and preparing. By the time they realize how far you've come, it is too late for them to interfere or slow you down. This advantage is lost when you make every step of your growth public. Privacy is not secrecy out of fear, it is strategy out of wisdom. Growth in private also builds discipline. Without an audience to motivate you, you learn to push yourself purely because of your own standards, not for external applause. This kind of self-driven growth is far more sustainable because it is rooted in your personal commitment rather than the fleeting attention of others. When you develop discipline in private, you carry it with you into the public arena and it becomes part of who you are. In private growth, you become more self-aware. Without the distraction of outside opinions, you can focus on evaluating your own progress honestly. You are not adjusting your growth to please others, you are aligning it with your true values and vision. This authenticity creates a foundation of integrity that will carry you further in life. Public growth often invites comparison, measuring yourself against others instead of your own potential, but private growth keeps you anchored in your unique journey. Privacy also gives you control over your own narrative. If you share every step of your growth in public, others will form their own interpretations, and those interpretations may not reflect your truth. By growing in private, you choose what and when to share, ensuring that the story of your growth is told accurately and at the right time. This control prevents misunderstandings, misrepresentations, and premature judgments that could harm your progress. Another powerful aspect of private growth is that it eliminates the need for constant validation. You learn to be content with your own acknowledgement of progress. You no longer depend on likes, comments, or compliments to feel like you're moving forward. This independence builds confidence because you know your worth and your progress are not tied to anyone else's recognition. You become your own witness to your transformation. Private growth also deepens your connection to the process itself. When you're not distracted by sharing or performing for others, you can immerse yourself fully in the work. You notice small improvements that might go unnoticed by the outside world, but are monumental to you. These little victories fuel your motivation and keep you moving forward, even when the bigger results have not yet appeared. You begin to appreciate the journey as much as the destination, which makes your growth more fulfilling. Lastly, privacy keeps you aligned with the principle that results should speak louder than announcements. By growing in private, you ensure that when people finally see the changes in you, whether in your skills, your mindset, or your life, they are seeing the finished product, not the unfinished process. This makes your growth undeniable because it is backed by visible, tangible proof rather than promises or updates. Focus is a faith move because to focus is to believe that what you are working on is worth your full attention even before you see the results. It is an act of trust that your efforts, when concentrated in one direction, will produce a harvest in due time. In a world full of distractions, the choice to focus means you are refusing to scatter your energy across every opportunity, every opinion, every demand that comes your way. You are saying no to the noise so you can say yes to your assignment. That takes faith, because the temptation will always be to do more, to chase everything, to hedge your bets. But focus says, I believe in this enough to give it my undivided effort. A faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you focus, you are acting on that definition. You are committing to a path without yet seeing the full picture of the reward. Focus is not just about eliminating distractions. It's about trusting the process even when the process feels slow, lonely, or invisible to others. Most people lose focus because they do not have the faith to stick with something long enough for it to bear fruit. They want immediate results, and when they don't see them, they move on to the next thing. But focus requires patience rooted in belief. It is a spiritual statement that says, I know this will work because I am doing what I was called to do. Focus is also an expression of stewardship. It is taking the talent, the gift, or the opportunity God has given you and multiplying it instead of burying it under a pile of distractions. When you focus, you honor the calling by giving it the attention and energy it deserves. You are acknowledging that the seed you've been given is valuable, and you are willing to tend to it diligently until it grows. That diligence is driven by faith. Faith that what you're building will make an impact, even if no one else sees it yet. To focus is also to ignore the fear of missing out. Faith knows that you don't need to be everywhere or do everything to succeed. In fact, faith understands that the more you try to be everywhere, the less effective you will be anywhere. Focus says, I am willing to let go of lesser opportunities so I can pour into the greater one. That's not always easy because distractions often disguise themselves as opportunities. It takes discernment to know which doors to walk through and which to close, and that discernment is strengthened by faith. Faith-driven focus also gives you endurance. When challenges arise, your focus keeps you from abandoning the mission too soon. You expect difficulties, but your faith tells you they are temporary because your eyes are fixed on the vision. You are less likely to be thrown off course by temporary setbacks. This is why focused people can persevere in situations where others quit. They have a clear picture of where they are going and a deep belief that they will get there. Focus is a faith move because it often requires you to work in obscurity. You may be putting in long hours, making sacrifices, and passing up short-term pleasures without any visible recognition. But faith allows you to keep going, trusting that the unseen work will produce seen results in due season. This is why many people who succeed on a high level are those who were willing to focus long before anyone was paying attention to them. Their faith was not in the applause, it was in the process. Another reason focus requires faith is because it demands that you resist comparison. In a culture obsessed with watching what everyone else is doing, focus keeps your eyes on your own path. It takes faith to believe that your unique journey will lead to success without having to copy someone else's route. Comparison can make you question your progress, but faith reminds you that you are on your own timetable. Focus allows you to run your race without looking sideways, which increases your speed and efficiency. When you choose to focus, you are also making a declaration that your vision is bigger than your distractions. Distractions will always appear urgent. They will demand your attention in ways that your long-term vision often doesn't. But faith enables you to prioritize the important over the urgent. It helps you resist the pull of short-term gratification in favor of long-term success. This is one of the hardest parts of focus, turning down what looks good now so you can build what will be great later. Faith-driven focus simplifies your life. It reduces the noise and narrows your path so you can channel all your energy into what matters most. This doesn't mean you ignore everything else. It means you evaluate everything through the lens of your calling. If something doesn't align with your vision, you let it go. That kind of clarity brings peace because you're no longer pulled in 100 directions. Instead, you are anchored in purpose, and that anchor is held by faith. Focus also sharpens your skills faster than anything else. When you give concentrated effort to one area over time, you develop mastery. Mastery cannot happen without focus, and focus cannot last without faith. You have to believe that the hours, days, and years you invest in sharpening your gift will pay off. Many people dabble in different things and wonder why they never excel at any of them. The answer is simple. They never gave themselves fully to one thing long enough to master it. Focus is the difference maker, and faith is the fuel that keeps that focus alive. Focus is a faith move because it invites you to see beyond the present moment. It asks you to invest your time and energy into something that may not reward you immediately, but will reward you abundantly later. It trains you to see with vision instead of just sight. Sight shows you what is right now. Vision shows you what can be. Faith chooses vision over sight, and focus is how that vision is brought into reality. Finally, focus is a faith move because it aligns you with divine timing. You trust that as you stay committed to your lane, God will open the right doors at the right time. You are not chasing opportunities, you are preparing for them. Focus keeps you ready so that when the opportunity does arrive, you have the skill, the knowledge, and the character to seize it fully. Without faith, it's easy to get impatient and chase after things prematurely. But faith allows you to wait and work, knowing that the harvest comes to those who do not grow weary in well-doing. Noise distracts, stillness builds because the human mind was never designed to operate at full capacity while being bombarded with endless streams of information, opinions, and demands. Noise scatters your thoughts, pulls your attention in multiple directions, and keeps you reactive instead of intentional. It can be external noise from the world around you, conversations, media, notifications, and constant chatter, or it can be internal noise from your own worries, fears, and overthinking. Either way, noise consumes the mental space you need for clarity, creativity, and progress. When your mind is crowded with noise, you cannot hear the quiet voice of wisdom guiding your next step. Stillness, on the other hand, is where clarity is born. Stillness is not simply the absence of sound, it is the intentional creation of space for focus, reflection, and renewal. It is when you deliberately withdraw from the chaos to center yourself on what matters most. In stillness, you become aware of your own thoughts without being drowned out by distractions. You gain perspective on your life, your decisions, and your direction. Stillness creates room for insight to surface and for strategies to form. Without it, you risk living reactively, constantly responding to whatever noise comes your way instead of creating a deliberate plan for your growth. Noise often comes disguised as urgency. It demands immediate attention and tricks you into thinking that being busy is the same as being productive. But business fueled by noise is often aimless. You may feel like you are moving fast, but you are not moving forward. Stillness slows you down long enough to ensure that your actions are aligned with your purpose. It forces you to stop and ask, is what I'm doing taking me where I want to go? This pause is what turns random activity into purposeful action. The truth is, noise keeps you comfortable. It gives you something to focus on so you don't have to face the deeper work of self, reflection, and growth. Many people fill their lives with constant noise because silence feels uncomfortable at first. It confronts them with their own thoughts, insecurities, and unhealed areas. Stillness strips away the distractions and forces you to deal with what's real. But it is only by facing those truths that you can address them, heal from them, and move beyond them. This is why stillness builds. It builds you from the inside out by working on the foundation of your mind and spirit before you construct anything outward. Noise can also come from people, well-meaning friends, family, or colleagues who constantly give opinions, advice, or criticism. If you are not careful, you can let their voices drown out your own. Everyone will have an opinion on what you should do, how you should live, and what choices you should make. But if you are always listening to external voices, you lose the ability to hear your own convictions. Stillness creates the boundary where you can step away from all those competing voices and reconnect with your own vision. It helps you separate what is truly important to you from what others think should be important. In stillness, you also strengthen your decision-making. Without noise clouding your judgment, you can evaluate your options more clearly. You make decisions from a place of wisdom, not impulse. This is especially important in moments of pressure, when noise can make you feel rushed into choices you may later regret. Stillness allows you to step back, breathe, and think through the long-term consequences of your actions. It gives you the patience to wait for the right move instead of jumping at the first available one. Noise is addictive because it provides instant stimulation. It keeps you distracted from the hard work of patience and persistence. Stillness, however, trains you to embrace the slower, deeper work that leads to lasting results. In stillness, you can plan, strategize, and refine your skills without the constant interruptions that break your concentration. Every time you protect stillness in your schedule, you are investing in focused, high-quality work that builds long-term success. Noise also drains your energy faster than you realize. Constant stimulation requires constant processing, which wears down your mental endurance. By the end of the day, you can feel exhausted without having done anything truly meaningful. Stillness works like a reset button. It restores your mental energy by giving your mind space to rest and recharge. This is why some of your best ideas and breakthroughs happen when you are away from the noise. While taking a walk, sitting quietly, or meditating, your brain can finally make connections and see solutions that were buried under layers of constant input. In stillness, you can also reconnect with your spiritual source. Whether through prayer, meditation, or reflection, stillness opens the channel for divine guidance to flow. The most life-changing directions often come in moments of quiet, not in the middle of chaos. If you are always surrounded by noise, you may miss those subtle nudges that could change your entire path. By choosing stillness, you position yourself to receive guidance and insight that noise would have drowned out. Stillness builds discipline. It takes self-control to turn off the noise, to log out, to step away from the constant stream of updates and opinions. At first, it may feel like you're missing out, but over time you realize you're actually gaining something far more valuable: control over your attention. The ability to choose stillness over noise is the ability to choose long-term growth over short-term distraction. That kind of discipline will separate you from those who are always busy but rarely effective. Noise keeps you reactive. Stillness makes you proactive. When you are reactive, you spend your days responding to other people's agendas instead of advancing your own. Stillness flips that dynamic by giving you the space to decide what you want to accomplish before the noise of the day takes over. It allows you to design your life instead of drifting through it. The more time you spend in stillness, the stronger your sense of direction becomes, and the less vulnerable you are to being pulled off course by whatever noise comes your way. Noise scatters your focus, but stillness gathers it. It's like light. When diffused, light is soft and unfocused. When concentrated, it becomes a laser that can cut through steel. Your energy works the same way. Noise disperses it in 100 directions. Stillness concentrates it into a force that can break through barriers. This is why those who master stillness often achieve more with less time. They are operating with focused intensity rather than scattered business. Stillness also builds confidence. The more you withdraw from the noise and work on yourself quietly, the more secure you become in your abilities. You stop needing constant feedback or reassurance because you've learned to trust your own process. That inner confidence is unshakable because it's not dependent on the opinions of others. It's built in the quiet, where you've done the work without distraction. When you eventually step back into the noise, you carry that stillness with you as a shield against outside pressures. Work in shadows, shine in light, because the most valuable preparation often happens away from public view. The shadows are the unseen hours of discipline, learning, and practice that shape you into someone capable of standing confidently when the light finally finds you. Too many people want to shine before they have done the necessary work in obscurity. They crave the recognition but avoid the grind. The truth is, if you skip the shadows, you will not be ready for the demands that come with the light. Shadows are where you build the skill, the character, and the resilience that will sustain you when you step into visibility. The shadows are where you can make mistakes without a spotlight exposing them. It is where you can try, fail, adjust, and grow without the pressure of public opinion. This freedom is crucial because growth is rarely perfect in the beginning. If your early work is placed in front of the world too soon, it can be torn apart before it has matured. In the shadows, you have the opportunity to refine your craft until it is strong enough to withstand scrutiny. By the time the light hits you, your preparation will be so deep that people will see excellence without realizing how many unseen hours went into creating it. Working in the shadows also builds humility. When you are not being applauded or recognized, you learn to do the work for its own sake, not for validation. This kind of humility is powerful because it anchors you when the light comes. People who step into the light without humility often lose themselves in the attention, but those who have been shaped in the shadows know that the applause is temporary and the work is what matters most. They understand that the light is not the goal. It is simply the place where the results of shadow work are revealed. The shadows are also a place of focus. In public view, there are countless distractions, people's expectations, comparisons, and criticisms. In private, you can tune all that out and concentrate entirely on the task at hand. Focus is sharper in the shadows because your attention is not divided between doing the work and managing other people's perceptions of it. That concentrated energy allows you to make faster progress and reach a level of mastery that would be harder to achieve in the constant noise of the spotlight. In the shadows, you also develop discipline. Without the immediate reward of recognition, your motivation must come from within. This is where you build the habit of showing up every day, even when no one notices. That kind of discipline is unshakable because it is not tied to external approval. It ensures that when the light does come, you won't crumble under the pressure because you have already proven to yourself that you can stay consistent in the dark. Shadows provide protection. Public visibility brings both praise and criticism, and if you have not built emotional resilience, that criticism can derail you. The shadows give you time to strengthen your mind so you are not swayed by either extreme. You learn to evaluate yourself honestly without being inflated by praise or crushed by negativity. This balance allows you to navigate the light with stability and grace. Working in the shadows also allows for strategic development. You can test ideas, experiment with methods, and take risks without the fear of public failure. Many of the world's greatest innovations were created quietly, long before they were unveiled to the public. This is because the shadows give you space to think differently, free from the pressure to please an audience. Creativity often thrives in privacy because it is not being filtered through other people's expectations. The light will amplify whatever you are in the shadows. If you are unprepared, the light will expose it. If you are prepared, the light will magnify your excellence. This is why the quality of your shadow work determines the quality of your public success. The light does not make you better, it reveals what you already are. People sometimes believe that being seen will automatically elevate them, but visibility without substance only leads to a faster fall. Shadows also teach patience. In a culture that glorifies instant success, the shadows remind you that true greatness is built over time. You learn to be content with the slow, steady progress that comes from persistent effort. This patience keeps you from rushing into light before you are ready. You begin to value the process as much as the result, understanding that each day in the shadows is an investment in your future strength. Another benefit of the shadows is that they build authenticity. Without the eyes of the world watching, you can work in alignment with your true values, not in performance for an audience. This authenticity becomes your foundation when you step into the light, ensuring that your success is built on who you really are, not on a version of yourself created to please others. People can sense authenticity, and it draws them to you more powerfully than any performance could. The shadows are also where relationships of depth are formed. When you are not in the spotlight, the people around you are there because they believe in you, not because they are attracted to your visibility. These relationships become vital in the light when you need trusted voices who will tell you the truth instead of just what you want to hear. The loyalty built in the shadows is often stronger than the attention gained in the light. When you finally step into the light after working in the shadows, the contrast is striking. People will often call it sudden success, but you will know it is not sudden at all. It is the result of every quiet hour, every unseen sacrifice, every choice to keep going when no one was watching. The light may come quickly, but the readiness to handle it is built slowly. Working in the shadows also aligns you with the principle of seasons. Just as nature has seasons for planting and harvesting, life has seasons for preparation and seasons for performance. The shadows are the planting season. You are sowing seeds of skill, knowledge, and character that will produce a harvest later. When the season changes and the light shines, you will have something worth showing because you invested in the unseen work first. Finally, the shadows shape your identity in a way the light never could. In the shadows, you learn who you are without applause, without external validation, without the pressure to be perfect. You discover your true motivations, your limits, and your potential. This self-awareness becomes your anchor when the light brings both opportunities and temptations. It ensures that no matter how bright the light becomes, you remain grounded in the person you became in the shadows. Let God announce your breakthrough, because when it is God who brings you into the light, no one can take you out of it. Human announcements are fragile. They can be withdrawn, they can be overshadowed, and they can be tainted with motives that do not serve your purpose. But when God chooses to reveal what he has been building in you, the timing is perfect, the placement is strategic, and the impact is undeniable. There is a divine difference between forcing your way into recognition and being divinely positioned for it. One is built on human effort alone, the other is sustained by divine backing that cannot be shaken. Letting God announce your breakthrough means trusting the process even when it feels like nothing is happening. It is the choice to keep building, keep working, and keep refining even when there is no applause, because you believe that the one who sees in secret will reward openly. This is not about passivity or waiting for life to just happen to you. It is about alignment. You move forward in obedience, knowing that your steps are ordered, and that the season of unveiling will come when the preparation is complete. When God announces something, he does it in such a way that even your critics are forced to acknowledge it. The doors that open are not ones you beg for. They are ones that swing wide without you having to force the handle. Opportunities begin to align with your calling, and the right people come into your path at exactly the right moment. These divine connections cannot be manufactured by networking or self-promotion alone. They are the result of God orchestrating events behind the scenes in ways you could never plan. This requires faith in God's timing, which is often different from ours. We may think we are ready long before we are, but God sees the parts of us that still need to be strengthened before the weight of a breakthrough can be carried well. Sometimes, the delay is not denial, it is protection. The wrong timing can turn a blessing into a burden. But when God announces your breakthrough, it arrives with the grace to handle it, the wisdom to manage it, and the endurance to sustain it. Letting God make the announcement also frees you from the exhausting cycle of seeking validation from people. When you are constantly trying to prove yourself, you burn energy on image rather than substance. But when you trust God to reveal your moment, you can focus entirely on becoming excellent at what you are called to do. You are not distracted by trying to impress anyone, because you know your work will speak for itself when the right time comes. This shifts your motivation from being seen to being faithful, and faithfulness is what attracts God's favor. God's announcements are also rooted in purpose, not just platform. When he brings you into the light, it is not only to elevate you, but to position you for greater impact. The influence you gain is meant to serve others, advance his kingdom, and fulfill a bigger mission than self-promotion. This keeps your breakthrough from being shallow or short-lived. It becomes part of a story much larger than yourself. This is why those who let God announce their moment often see doors open that align perfectly with their gifting and calling, rather than random opportunities that pull them in the wrong direction. In many cases, your breakthrough will be birthed in a season of obscurity where it looks like nothing is happening. God often hides your growth until it is strong enough to survive exposure. Just like a seed grows in the dark soil before breaking through the surface, your preparation is taking place in the unseen. If a plant emerges too soon, before its roots are deep, it cannot withstand wind or heat. The same is true for your life. God keeps you hidden until your foundation can handle the visibility he is about to give you. When God makes the announcement, the scale of it is often beyond what you could have engineered on your own. You may have thought of reaching a few hundred people, but his plan reaches thousands or millions. You may have been aiming for a small promotion, but his plan places you in a position of far greater influence. This is the difference between human striving and divine promotion. God multiplies the impact far beyond your imagination. There is also peace that comes with letting God do the unveiling. If you force your own breakthrough, you will constantly feel the pressure to keep it alive by your own strength. But when it is God's doing, you can rest in the assurance that the same one who opened the door will also sustain you in that place. You are not operating from anxiety, but from confidence in his faithfulness. This peace allows you to focus on the assignment rather than on protecting your position. Another reason to let God announce your breakthrough is that he does it in a way that no one can deny your preparation. People may try to question your worthiness, but the fruit of your work will be undeniable. The results will speak louder than any argument because they will reflect years of diligence, consistency, and excellence developed in the unseen. The light will not create those qualities, it will simply reveal what was already there. When you surrender the announcement to God, you also guard your heart from pride. Self-promotion can easily become a trap where the attention feeds your ego and blinds you to the work still needed. But when your elevation comes from God, you remain aware that it was not your own power that brought you there. Gratitude replaces arrogance, and humility becomes the posture that keeps you grounded. This approach also filters out the wrong kind of attention. When you push yourself into the spotlight prematurely, you often attract people who are drawn to the image rather than the mission. But when God unveils your breakthrough, the right people, those meant to support, partner with, or learn from you, are drawn to you because they recognize something authentic and purposeful. These are the connections that last and produce long-term fruit, rather than shallow associations that fade quickly. Letting God announce your breakthrough also means you are not competing with others for visibility. You understand that what God has for you is uniquely yours, and no one can take it. This removes the urge to compare yourself to someone else's timeline. You are freed from jealousy because you trust that when your time comes, it will be perfect for you. This mindset allows you to genuinely celebrate others' successes without feeling threatened, knowing that their breakthrough does not diminish your own. When the announcement comes from God, it will carry undeniable confirmation. Doors will open without manipulation, resources will appear without begging, and people will align with you without you having to convince them. There will be a divine rightness to the moment where everything fits together in a way that feels orchestrated rather than accidental. This sense of alignment is a signature of God's timing. It flows instead of being forced. And when He does announce your breakthrough, He not only elevates you, but He also protects what He has given. There is a covering over your influence, a stability in your platform, and a grace to carry the weight of new responsibilities. This protection ensures that your breakthrough is not a fleeting moment, but the beginning of a sustained season of impact that fulfills its intended purpose.